All right, welcome in to the Bobby Carpenter Show, and excited to be here. Excited post spring game, working on getting some players on. Lathan was talking to me, Schleiks. He was excited to get back on here and talk a little bit about it. He's heading back to Arizona here shortly. So I think this weekend. So he's like, we'll have to figure out the time situation because they're 3 hours back now since we're on daylight savings time. So he'll have that going that we'll have to overcome, but trying to maybe get someone else on tomorrow and see if we can't talk about it. But you were over there briefly. I believe there were 6 NFL head coaches there. I know there was Vrabes. I know there was Tomlin. I know there was Schottenheimer. I always forget. Oh, my gosh. I'm forgetting his name again. I forgot it earlier today. Kellen Moore, the Saints head coach, which he's like, I don't know, it's like 5 years younger than me. So I forget that he's the head coach because he's so young, but he's an awesome dude. Good talking to him. And so that's 4. I think the Bears head coach was there, which is Ben Johnson, maybe, who was the Lions OC. And then I'm not sure who the last one was. I'll have to run through my mind, the Rolodex, and see if I can figure it out. We had a lot of your old Jacksonville squad that was there, Schlags. I mean, obviously you, Tim Walton, Stamp, Shoddy, your guy Ty Bowen. I mean, that's like 5 of the coaches right there. So it's like a little mini reunion for that little Jacksonville crew from a couple years back.
The 1 year stint, baby. The 1 year stint.
Hey, listen,
Shoddy
said he just needed one shot, just one good pump, and then he's ready to go. So it was big. He parlayed. You know what you should say, Shoddy? You parlayed that into the head coaching job of the Dallas Cowboys.
Facts.
Like, I mean, that's real. You've got to see it all.
It was great talking to him yesterday, Bob, and catching up and seeing Tyler. Just, hey man, congrats! You've been here for a freaking month. Way to attack and dominate.
And he says, "How come you haven't said hi to me before? I've been here for a month, Schleiks, and you haven't seen me."
It's the first time I've been to the building probably in the last month.
Well, Schleiks, that's something we'll have to remedy then, isn't it?
It's called work. We're doing great things at the Armory, man. I sent you a picture of what we're doing. Don't show nobody that. But there's some great things coming.
There is. There's a bunch of dudes. I guess 2 chicks. I didn't look all that close.
Was the sauna. That was the sauna. I sent something in your text message about plans. But we had the ROTC Ranger team from Ohio State yesterday getting bumpy. And it was great. It was like, when I get to work with people, it's like a throwback to Air Force Academy days. But I mean, I train them just like they're at Ohio State football. It don't matter. And like,
you realize, as important as training the Buckeyes, you're training the defenders of the free world right there. They call them, I didn't realize this, people throw out the term when I go to these military bases, ROTC, ROTC.
Yeah, ROTC.
So you're training some of the ROTC. Those are future
commissioned
officers coming out. They will be coming into different branches of the armed services. And so they're going to be leading the defense of the free world. So I don't feel like there's a bigger responsibility than that, my man.
Well, it was funny because like we were doing like really heavy carries at the end, and you got to make it somewhat appropriate, also challenging. But then,
what is appropriate? What does that mean?
They do. The details matter, and I intentionally didn't give them a lot of instructions because they'll go do a competition where there's instructions and you got to adapt on the fly, and you're like, "Don't you hit my water fountain? I will smash you!" Right? Like just jokingly, but not. And then, somebody setting it down before they completely cross the line like a dude,
or a dudette. Like, who doesn't finish the job?
Well, I mean, a couple like, oh, this was far enough. And the answer was, oh, it's not far enough. Like, you have to cross the line and set it down like a dude or a dudette because there's also 2 females in there. And then I surprised them because Cade, I personally wanted to get in the sauna that Brian Peters parks here at the Armory. So I had it fired up. I was like, hey, surprise, guess what? Great workout. See you in the sauna. We got in there and did some like breathing and just sweated. But then a lot of them are like in finance or they're in the business school. So I'm like, talk shop to me, guys. Like, so we had about 15, 20 minutes of just like talking the why of a lot of things, and really cool, man. I enjoy that kind of stuff probably more than anything.
Well, so here's what you need to do, Schlags. Next time you do that, we're going to come over. I'm going to come with you, and I'm going to do it Bob style because I want to make certain that these folks are prepared for POW stuff. I mean, when we get in there, we're getting it up to 220. We're locking the door, no water. All right. We're going to start doing push-ups, and how long can we last? Okay. I mean, psychologically, we got to get deep down David Goggins into it, embrace the suck, do things you hate, so that part of your brain, the hate center, will just grow. So you're able to just embrace more pain, more tough things. There is satisfaction in life, Schlegs, in doing hard things,
Oh yeah,
not going out to get the cool breeze, not asking coach for another drink of water. Like,
that's part of the deal, anyways. Hey, you know what though, Bob? To quote a famous Robert the Bruce, "My hate will die with you."
with me. So when
Yeah.
I die, you better hope you
I
outlive
don't
me,
want
man.
you to die, Bob. It's just it was a phrase that I
I
thought was
gotcha.
appropriate for what you
So
were throwing down.
what did you see yesterday at Pro Day? I know I saw you there for a little bit. You literally popped out. I thought I saw you with Shoddy, and I was talking to him earlier, and then I doubled back. I'm like, did Schlegs get you? He's like, oh yeah, I saw Schlegs. And he was so pumped to talk about it. I actually ate lunch with the whole Cowboys like scouting department and everything.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was
But
great. It was great to connect, Bob. You had Phil Matus as the head strength coach
yep.
at Pittsburgh. Obviously, seeing Vrabes because New England already had striking machines, but then Frank Pirano, who worked with Mick, who was at BC, who coached Vrabes' oldest son at BC, Tyler Carter or Tyler Vrabel.
Tyler and
He's
Carter
in
are
New
their
England.
names. So you
He
just
won.
merged them
Shut up,
together.
Tyler Vrabel. Sorry. All right. So he won. Yeah. Turn your ringer off, Bob. Hey. So just and the best part about Braves is like, hey, I still haven't got a royalty check from the difference. And every time it's like him or Mig, it's like the thing. And he's like, I was like, Braves. He's like, I think we bought some stuff from you. I was like, 100%. I got you taken care of. He's like, do we get the discount? I was like, Braves, I was like, I don't discount this product for anybody, but I always take care of you. And he's like, all right, great. Like, I'm like, and then we started reminiscing because somebody was standing there. I don't know if it was Cody. It was, I don't remember who was standing there, and it was next to Braves. And we just started talking. I was like, you guys don't understand how big of a freak like Braves actually is. Because we were talking about how he used to always go out there and hold the bag and do the drills.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, there was a time and a place, and now is no longer the time nor the place. And I was like, guys, you don't understand this. Braves used to go out after playing 36 holes, playing poker, probably smoking Marlboro Reds, hungover, and would run 32 110s with us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are we doing this? And you just had to do it. And Bob, you would stay there with him because you're an anomaly just like he is. And then I was like, but also the sweet spot, like the sugar for Papa Schlegs was the fact that Braves would also just drop off all of his really nice clothes in fixed office. I like literally the suits and the shirts that I wore to games were all hand-me-down Vrabel gear that he bought that were really fancy. Now, granted, I had to take 5 inches off the arms.
I was waiting for that because I'm like, Vrabes has super long limbs.
He's 6'5". He's like 6'5" with like arms that hangs down to his freaking knees. And I was like, yeah, like these are a little long. I was like, yeah, you got to take them up like 5 inches. I apologize. So, anyways, it's just great to like reminisce and see everybody, see the players. Here's another, besides the guys that performed, and again, we'll talk more about their performance. It just so everybody else out there knows. One, it was great to talk to Matt Patricia very briefly.
Yeah.
And the reason I did it like later on because I was talking to the guys. And I was like, hey, give me a call. And they gave me a call. And I was like, oh, you mean this, and this? And this is what you do? And if they do this, you do this. And they do this, you do this. And here's the checks that you can make to make it better. And they're like, how do you know all that? I was like, yeah, exactly. And it's super black and white. And it's fun, isn't it? And they're just like, yeah, it's really fun. Like, we're playing fast. I'm like, excellent. So then I went back to him and I was like, hey, I just really appreciate the way that you're coaching these guys and how authentic you are with them. And he is literally, he just has like a jovial spirit about him wanting to be here and how it is impacting those guys. So I was honestly, this is talking about 2025 season. I feel really good.
Yeah. And you should, Schlegs. I mean, realistically, and it's funny because a lot of people saw Matty P there, and I joked with him, I'm like, how nice is it for you just to be here and just be chilling, like Snoop Dogg on the beach drinking a Corona. They're coming to look at your guys. You don't have to evaluate anybody. You have all these players. Like, you have the best. And so now you don't have to worry about it. And it's such a blessing. He's like, oh, this is great. He's like, all the guys come here and they all want my guys.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about anybody and what's going on. And I know, why don't we throw that up here right now since we kind of stumbled
The
into it.
Matty P right here. This one.
Matty P on his thoughts at OSU. With everything with this, because he's talked about this, and that's I love it. They're putting all these calls, and here's the best part about Ohio State. It was over at spring practice today, and they've got the calls, and like they're not giving away anything of what they're doing, but the way they call it is a little more traditional now. But he's got a tag for everything. Like, you want to hit the tight end? Boom, we'll call this call, throw this thing on it. You want to cover the back with this guy? Boom, we'll throw this tag on it. You want to run the nickel? We'll say this. You don't want to run the nickel on motion. You say that. And all the guys like, hey, here's the base call, but there's like 40 iterations that you can call off of it. And it only really affects one or two guys each time. Like, does that matter to you? Does that matter to you? And then Matty P is talking about like why he's here. Well, here it is. I mean, it's Ohio State. It's the top. I'm pretty lucky to be here. And, for a guy that's won 3 Super Bowls, coached offense, coached defense, done it all. I think he's got a lot of respect for Ryan. They're all part of the New England, I call them the New England Mafia up there. I mean, him, Chip, like that whole squad. There's not a ton of like big time football that comes out of like the New Hampshire, Boston, like area up there. But these guys are all really good coaches. And Matt is one of the smartest guys I've been around. And like watching him interact with Walt, OG, and Tint, and Guerreri, and James, like it's been awesome to see that interaction, to see that coaching. And then, with Larry and how they're working in different guys up front and some different stuff and moving some guys around. Like it's been fun to see. And hey, the backs are chipping. It was funny. The backs, like in college, a lot of running backs, which you call chip, it helps take care of the defensive ends if they're really good. You help the tackle. You get beside them, Schlegs, and you know what this is. Like you hide behind them, then bam, when the defensive end rushes off the edge, helps slow them down. They're starting to chip a lot. And Ryan's offense is one of the few that does that in college. Like, I never got chipped legs one time in college.
Yeah.
I had 4 sacks in a game against Michigan State. Like that's malpractice, coaching malpractice that I never got chipped. That they didn't even have that in. And so Ryan has these different levers. And I look over at Matty P, and because CJ got chipped pretty good one time. I'm like, you're new, you don't understand. I guess they got him a couple practices ago too. And I go, well, if they're going to start chipping, it's time for this call.
Yeah.
And he's like, exactly. He's like, we'll start doing this and mixing up. And he goes, they'll get out of that chip in a hurry because of what's going to ultimately happen.
You're talking about book and read? Yeah, exactly.
You start changing up who's taking who and what goes on. And then boom, if you're going to chip the end, we'll fire a linebacker.
Hey, no
there's
problem.
Just different things that you have the ability to do. And so it's awesome to see that. It's been fun to see the back and forth. They're starting to do some situational stuff. If you're going to be on Saturday, Schlegs, I think they've got like more of a situational scrimmage on Saturday, working through some of those big time.
I think I'm going to go to that one.
I think they're going to start around maybe 10:30. So it'll be fun to get over there. I'm sure it's getting a little chippy, man. I think today was practice 6, Saturday is 7. And so they're getting to that point now where guys are kind of getting after each other. And, Ryan's got to chill them out, but you want to see that competition. It's a young team. And so these guys are going to be going back and forth, especially up front, trying to assert dominance, offensive line, defensive line, figuring that stuff out. So it's been really fun to kind of see this growth. And I think today, you practice after pro day, all those guys are out there and they're watching this. And when you see freaking 80 to 100 NFL scouts, like every team's got a scout there. Probably they had at least one position coach, if not a coordinator, 6 head coaches and 5 GMs. Like that's when I say, like, they start bringing in the planes. When you get the head coaches and GMs, that's when they're flying in the jets. And so they're bringing freaking 6 guys, a team. Like the Cowboys had like 6 guys there. The Saints had like 4 or 5 guys there. Like there was a lot. And so people, the players, I think you see that. And I know, Schlegs, I remember I did, like when you watch pro day, like, man, you're a lot closer to that than you realize. So it sometimes starts a little bit of a fire in practice to get competitive, maybe more so than before, to make sure that everything is getting going and everything's in a good spot. All right, we're going to talk a little bit, Schlegs. We got the attendance at pro day. We're going to get to that right after this. You're going to save that thought for the folks.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can remember that thought. Okay, I'll remember.
Here's the deal. Write it down. That'll help you remember, because we got Export right now for parents and athletes. Protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Schlegs didn't have that. That's why he's got to write it down. Export mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that thing custom to your own grill, so it's going to feel good for more protection, max performance, better protection, and clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today. Save 15% on your order. I didn't have them either. That's why I'm stumbling through this. Protect what matters most, which is your noggin and your grill. Maybe not even in that order, depending on how handsome you are. More of Schlegs' thoughts from Pro Day coming up next. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. And attendance at Pro Day was robust. We've talked about it. Pat, when you get a chance to toss that up there, all the numbers, all the stuff. I don't even know what the heck this is. I haven't looked at this graphic yet. But I'm sure as we look through this, who all was there is watch this. We're going to read through everything. I can't even see all that now, Schlegs. Oh, we've got coaches. Can you help, Schlegs? Why don't you read that off? I clicked
I'll read it. Coaches: Ben Johnson, Raheem Morris.
Oh, Raheem Morris. That's who.
Kevin Moore, Brian Schottenheimer, a.k.a. Shotty.
Shotty.
Mike Vrabel. GMs. Terry
Fontenot with the Packers.
Fontenot, yeah,
Brian
Brian.
Gutekunst with the Falcons. Brian Gutekunst with the Packers.
Omar Khan.
Steelers. Ryan Poles with the Bears, and Mickey Loomis. I didn't even see Mickey there with the Saints.
He also has like G Loomis, like he's part of that rod manufacturer. Really good fishing poles.
Absolutely. But I thought 80 to 100. 141 total personnel. And that's scouts. That's like Dallas brought their regional scout. They've got their director of scouting. They've got their director of college scouting. They had a couple position coaches. They had Brian Schottenheimer. Like they had 6 people. The Saints, I think, had like 5 or 6 people. Talking to Jeff Ireland, who runs all the pro personnel. He's their de facto GM. I know Mickey Loomis runs it, but he also runs the Pelicans. So a lot of the personnel stuff goes through Jeff Ireland. He's great. He was with Dallas when I was there. And a lot of these guys, Schlegs, still use the Bill Parcells system of how they draft, like how they rank guys, what they look at. And I heard a story yesterday from one of the guys that and I'll keep the coach's name out. One of the coaches in Dallas, when I was coming out and the guys looking, because it's been so long, actually, it's been almost 20 years, and the draft, and they're looking through it. And I guess when they were ranking players, and Dallas didn't have a chance to draft AJ. I mean, he was going in top 5. And one of the defensive coaches was like, AJ Hawk hadn't made any plays. Like, this guy doesn't make enough plays to draft that high. And they said, Schlegs, Bill threw him out of the meeting. He goes, get out of here. Get out. I'm done listening to this from you. You talked about it too much. Don't tell me this guy doesn't make any plays. Put on the film and watch it. Yeah. But I talked to like Dallas still runs a lot of Bill stuff. The Saints with Jeff Ireland, they still do it. New England, like Belichick's tinkered with it, but it's a similar system with how they do it just because. And I talked to Anthony Lynn, who D'Anton Lynn, his son, was that
the coordinator at UCLA, right?
With Brian, but now he's at USC, and he's getting their defense going. But Anthony Lynn, he was on our staff in Dallas, and we started talking about that coaching staff that we were there. And it's like a big reunion because every coach on that staff we had in Dallas in 2006 became a head coach in either college or the NFL. Like, it was crazy town how good it was. And a lot of those guys have it's been proliferation all through the NFL. Todd Bowles, Anthony Lynn, Todd Haley, all these guys. Hell, even Freddie Kitchens, Cleveland Browns head coach, for having crying out loud. But the philosophy, Mike Tannenbaum, who was with Parcells with the Jets, would say this. He goes, this was him and George Young with the Giants. Their philosophy, Schlegs, draft productive players from big-time schools and ask them to do the same things. And he's like, it's a pretty good process. He's like, they're going to get the best players from high school usually. And if they're productive and they have the traits that you're looking for, take them and then ask them to do a lot of what they did in college.
Yeah.
And he's like, it'll probably work out for you more times than not. And so they've got this whole grading system, but that's kind of the overarching theme of what they do. And that's why the Saints, Schlegs, usually draft a lot of Buckeyes.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jeff Ireland. I'm like, you only got Pete now. Like, it's time to reload. And I go, you got to get that guy some players. And like Kellen laughed about it. I'm like, there's a lot of them out here. In this draft, I think it's talking to a lot of guys. I don't know. I mean, I think Josh Simmons could go pretty high. I think Emeka could go pretty high.
He looked really good yesterday, by the way, folks.
He did. And he's a good dude. And that's the thing, like guys that have deep ties to Ohio State, there's a lot of New England deep ties. People can kind of screw down and try to figure out, because there's a report that they were out there. Todd McShay was saying, about Josh Simmons, like love for football and does he care? And, a lot of stuff. I'm like, listen, just because the guy's got nose rings and earrings and stuff, he's a Cali dude. That's okay.
Lenny Kravitz, man, I told him, I was like, dude, you look like a 312-pound Lenny Kravitz.
I know. But my thing is, I go, there's coaches that don't like that. I go, take the stuff out. I think Vrabes maybe told him the same thing. But I go, you want to know about him? Go ask Stu. I told Cam Williams, like Buckeye linebacker. You coached him when he was here. He's on that 14 national championship team. I go ask Stu. Like, ask the people that are around. They'll tell you what they're about. The guys who are the guys that are with them every day and train them and rehab them and all that. They'll tell you what those guys are about. So it was pretty cool to kind of see all of that and watch those guys. But outside of Emeka and Simmons, who might probably go in the 10s and teens and 20s, I go, the Buckeyes have a lot of dudes that are going to get drafted probably between like 25 and 30 and like 90. Like the cluster, like the middle part, the meat of the draft, end of the first, like to the back end of the third, maybe high fourth, like that meat. There's a lot of those guys that are going to go there.
Yeah.
And maybe some of them creep up and move down, but it's like that is where the majority of those guys are going to go.
My biggest thing from yesterday, Bob, and I appreciate you talking about like the coaches and all that, so I will not hit on that, but I was just talking to more of the guys because I was with them, right? And they're a little older now. And I was like, hey, guess what? This is going to be you. Like, that's why you come here. I was like, don't like, yeah, you're watching the guys. Like, don't miss on what this place is. It is the springboard for you to the next level.
Springboard for life.
Yeah, if you perform, right? And like life-changing shit. Now, I had another one too, Bob. And, this goes back to like when I actually did this yesterday. And, you get coaches and they just run your guys like, hey, we're going to be doing drills. O-line coaches are habitual for doing this.
Yeah.
Like they did drills and we're going to take them off to the side.
And you see Fryer running and doing the sweeps. He had him.
Right. So Tyler was doing that on the field, and they want to get some other nuggets that they want to look at as a coach at Pro Day. It's the side indie drills. Now, here's where me as the barrier, right? Coaches that come in, first off, my mind is you're in my effing facility. I'm going to take care of my guys. So I was like, Higgs, go over there and get these guys water because there's only two of them doing stuff.
Yeah.
And that way, when they get done, you can interrupt them and like, hey, they don't need any water. Like, bro, what are they going to say? That
they
I'm
already did. Them? They already did.
Always, again, remember, I tell people this. I was like, guys, understand. This day is for our guys. Like when the first group got done, Bob, you hear everybody clap. You want to know why everybody started clapping? Because I'm the one who started clapping. Because I'm like, get them freaking juicy in here, right? Like fluff it up. They did. That was Trey. He did a great job. You create the oh shit, yeah, it was looking really good.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you want to do a side indie drill? Go over there. Be the barrier of entry to just run these guys into the ground. Put their best foot forward. That's what the day is. That's what, as a support staff, that's your job to do. Because it ain't about you old ass offensive line coach in the league, I know you're good, but no, man. This is about my guys to put their best foot forward. So you got to take the initiative and have your eyes open to go do that. And that's why I was telling the young guys, like, this is what you're going to be able to go do. Now, guess what? Go practice, go be that guy to set yourself up to where you can have a day like these guys are having.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. But yeah, when they're running 25 yards and like touching the ground with like every step, and
so I was like, go get them water right now, break it up. I mean,
yeah.
I can't do that. I'm wearing like an Ohio State ROTC shirt, you know? I'm like, it's, you know, like go. Like,
who are you? I'm Sergeant. I'm First Class Petty Officer
Sergeant
Schroeder.
Rock, sir.
Sergeant Rock.
Remember
The
that
fact
one?
that you dropped a Sergeant Rock from
Remember
Bill
that
Conley
one?
circa 2003.
Bill Conley, 2003. Bill Conley.
So amazing. Gosh, that's beautiful.
Just run down there and just headbutt people.
Yeah.
I didn't care. Didn't have export. Probably be better off if I did.
Yep. But that was it was good the fact that you did that. But the guys like Trey looked really fast. I was sitting there
Really
talking
fast.
to Scotty, and he's like, you can feel his speed when
I
he
know.
goes. I'm like watching him go, like it seems like he's going at a different rate. Now, the thing that was a little disappointing is Quinshawn didn't go. Now, so do you know, was he nicked up? Like, did he have an injury?
I have no clue. I said the same thing. Would love to have seen him go. I do not know. Here's the other kind of takeaway that I got from this. None of these so-called like training gurus of pro day shit. Like, I'm gonna be an advocate. I might just do it here and be like, I don't want your money. Like, just come in and I'll take care of you. They don't know how to train guys straight off of that, a 16-game season.
Yeah.
There is so much stuff going on. And I was talking to Mick about this. I was like, honestly, this is what needs to happen. The season, we've already talked about this ad nauseum on the show. Don't compete with the NFL in January. Move the season up. Be done the first week of January. So start in August. Okay, 1. 2, bump pro day back or bump the combine back. The combine doesn't need to be the last week in February. Make it the middle of March. Then do your pro days at the end of like the beginning of April, end of March. Then have time to recover, build up the tissue for rookie minicamp, right? The draft at the end of April. That's how you do it. Because you're going to come in. It's not like these guys are backfilling these dudes. They're going to like, man, I got to go. This guy just got done playing a season. He ain't nowhere where he needs to be. We got to go put the hammer down. And now they get nicked up. It's a growing, it's a hamstring, it's doing stuff. They haven't been training that way. They've been training to play the game of football, not to do testing, right? It's why Josh was expected to do 33, 35 reps on the bench. He hasn't played. He can do that. That's why they did a dynamic warm-up with him. Higgs ran him through, or AT ran him through that. Why? They wanted him to see how he moved coming off of that surgery. And then Higgs went out and did some movement stuff with him, which is amazing. Like, they just want to see how he's moving and how he's progressing. But guys, I don't, these people don't know, man. They don't know.
They don't know, Schlegs. They don't know. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to throw up some of the notable top performers. I got all the numbers, Schlegs, out there, but this was
I want to hear them all. Like, there's more numbers. You got more numbers, right?
Well, yeah, I got the whole thing. But
you got the whole doomajig. See, yeah. Bob, listen, that's why you're the man. You got the doomajig.
I got the doomajig. What's called a phone. And I got the files sent over to me, so I have a good idea of what's going on and
all about the relationship, folks. All about the relationships.
No, it is. I mean, you go there and help the guys, and I tell them, like, I tell all the players, I go, my goal in this is to watch you get drafted as high as possible, make as much money as possible, and be the best man you can be, and not in that order, by the way. So I'm not getting anything from this other than trying to help you. So when people ask me stuff, give me good things to be able to tell them, and I will tell them all those good things. But you got to be a good dude and you got to work. And with this class, it was super easy. And so we'll get into that in the top performers from Pro Day and some of the biggest takeaways coming up next.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And maybe Schleg's disappeared. Who knows what's going on? But throw this up, Pat, and the notable top performers of OSU's Pro Day. And like I said, I was over there and I went through a lot of stuff. And there he is, an empty chair. He's a shill sitting there.
No, I got coffee. I got coffee. You
Yeah.
know what? There was a thing I saw. I'm gonna have to watch this consumption of my caffeine. And you know, I've been doing a good job.
Why? What happened? You said there's this thing that I saw, and then you didn't tell anybody. There's a tease with no payoff.
No, I like to keep it going. I like to extend it, Bob. Like I'm not just it's not all about me.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. All right. So here's the thing. So it was like 400 milligrams is safe, right? I guess over that. So now I started to reevaluate my caffeine consumption. It's like I have a cup on the way to work because it's a long drive from around town. Then I drink a pre-workout. Always do it late because I'm like coaching Cade and Jared really hard. And it's like I forget to like drink it because then as soon as they're done, like we're right into the warm-up and it's like I got to pound this and I need to warm up my old ass body. So that's terrible. So that's 300. And then I can have one more, but then I got to like I'm going to have to say like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do one of those LFGO caffeine pouches. That will take me to, I might walk the line at 450. I'm sure with my cardiovascular stuff and muscle density, I could probably get away with 500.
Yeah,
So we
for
have to
sure.
figure that out.
Well, plus, if you do like a coffee and Bailey's, they said the alcohol offsets the caffeine.
Coffee.
So
Could
yeah,
be.
it's like
Could
you're
be.
rising up, but then it helps pull it back down. So get on that roller coaster. So yeah, if you just start throwing some Bailey's in all your coffee Schlegs, that'll help offset that caffeine.
Maybe that's a new thing, like like a pre-workout, and vodka, like a Red Bull,
We used
Bull
to have
vodka.
those Schlegs. They were called Four Locos.
What
and-
was that? For real?
Called
Hey,
Four
listen
Loko.
to- hey, when I was working you remember this one? I'd be working at the shop at the Difference USA up there in Lewis Center and just grinding my face off and like, oh man, it's starting to hit the wall. And all of a sudden I go get the old Monster Dickel. I have a Monster with some Dickel in there. And boom, it perked you right up, man. I was like, boom, put the jams on, and we're just making striking machines. Anyways, hey, guys, try that one. White Monster, Dr. Dickel, Buckeyes.
Perfect. All right.
Let's go.
Notable top performers
Let's
for
go.
OSU's Pro Day. You want to toss that up there. Now, I got everything, but this is some of the stuff that I think kind of displays and shows everything. You mentioned Josh Simmons, 33 reps on the bench. I want to say did a great job with that. Emeka, people were questioning like his top end speed. If you're going to be a first rounder, for his size, you got to be in the 4.4s. Emeka, 40 time, 4.45, like looked really good. You watch him run, he looks smooth. Ty Hamilton, man, Schlegs,
Bro,
21-inch. One of the scouts like, dude, he is huge. And I'm like, listen, man, his brother plays in the league. Like I watched him grow up. He's a tough son of a gun too. He played against my dad's team. Like all these Pickerton guys, like he played against my dad's team. These guys were like seniors. My dad retired. I go, Ty Hamilton is the only one I know who ever got to Hulk Hogan status, Schlegs, 21-inch rims, like Hulk Hogan's arms. Like he has monster guns.
dude, I would joke with him. I'm like, Ty, I'm just telling you right now, you have the biggest body. Like you have great arms, bro. You have great, and his upper back, his traps he is just a wall. And hey guys, side nugget, like Ty Hamilton had himself a day yesterday in the movement drills.
He looked good.
I wish Ty Leak would have been able to be in the drills with him, but when he was not in the drills, it actually allowed Ty to kind of like
shine,
elevate his game there. He did a phenomenal job in the drills. He obviously like the bench press, but like his presence and his ability to move as big as he is, he caught some eyes yesterday.
Absolutely. It's looking good. Jordan Hancock. So he
Yeah.
played slot. And
Bro.
so here's the thing with Jordan. Jordan has played outside corner here, He played slot corner, and then he played also like some safety in the Knowles defense and everything. People love him. They asked me like, who's the one guy? I'm like, the guy that you're probably nobody's talking about. And Jordan shaved off his dreads.
Dude,
I didn't even recognize him.
I was like, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, where'd you dress? He's like, oh man, like, new time. I was like, first off, look really handsome. I was like, but second off, I told him this. I was like, you're gonna have a day. Yeah, he looked great, man.
He did. And he went and ran a 4.42. And so people are like, okay, 6 foot, like 190.
Big guy.
And I told him, I go, he can play outside if you want him to. He's fine at that. He can play inside. And I go, he'll hit you. Go put the film on.
Yeah, dude.
He's a guy that you can play nickel with, and he can probably be 195, 200 pounds. And I go, he can guard a tight end because he's 6 feet tall, and he's got, and they're like, what is, and so as I'm talking to the coaches, they're like, grab the scouts. Looking, what's his arm length? Oh, good, long arms, reach. Like, what did he jump? Boom, jumping through the roof. I think his vert, I want to say, was 41, I think. Like, Jordan's vert was like, God, I'm like, yeah, this dude can go guard, Travis Kelce. Like, that's what you need is big dudes that can run, and they'll come up and hit in the run game. Plus, you see him playing free safety. I go, if you're a defensive coordinator that likes to get creative, my man Jordan Hancock is the Swiss Army knife back there that does it all.
Side nugget, I want to tell everybody, like, this is one of what you're hearing right now, and is one of the beautiful things of Ohio State football. Like, Bob has a lot of connections. Bob does a great job because he's there on a daily basis of being able to kind of like articulate and see other guys like areas and like where they could fit on teams because he knows that game because he played in the NFL. But he has relationships from a lot of different teams, organizations, coaches, where they were. Like, guys, like him being able to say like what they could do and then them going back and getting another nugget. I'm just letting you guys know, like, he's selling our guys, right? And we all do the same thing because I'll get strength coaches like, what do you think? Or we'll get a player personnel guy that we know from our crossing paths. Like, the Eagles, like, what do you think about this guy? I'm like, bro, listen, in the weight room, amazing guy. On the practice field, amazing guy. Communicates, handles his business, is a true pro. Like, Matt, I'm not going to tell you where this guy's from. I guess I just did. He's from the Eagles anyways. So I was like, dude, this is a guy that you want. And they're like, yeah, like, look what he's doing. I was like, yeah, like, that's why you take him, Anyways, like that's what we're supposed to do as former players. I think nobody does it better than Bob. I'm not fluffing you, Bob. I'm not a good fluffer like that. All right, like some of the other people on the radio show that you speak on, but you do an amazing job advocating for our guys to other people that can make decisions that can alter their lives. So kudos to you.
I appreciate it. All right, hey, we're running long.
Keep going. No, time out. I don't want to run. Bump the other one.
We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna finish up some of the top performers here in our headlines coming up next. All right. There are headlines. We're going to throw that back up there. Some of the other top performers that we talked to. We talked about Jordan, and we only got through like 3 guys in 10 minutes. So Lathan Ransom, our guy, did a great job on his broad, 10-1, big jump for him. I think he ran a 4.53, so not maybe quite as fast as he would have liked, but it was still a very good time.
And he was nicked up a little bit too. I do know that.
He was, and like he looked good in the drills, and he looked fast. A lot of the people that I talked to, like, yeah, that's fine. We just want to make sure he wasn't a 4.6.
Yeah,
like he's low 4.5s. Like, we're all good with that. And his film's really good. And they have all these metrics now, Schlegs, where they're talking like closing time and speed and like his anticipation, like all those things factor in. Where they're like, how does a guy who's a 4.5 play like a low 4.2, 4.4? Well, because his anticipation and his preparation and just his acceleration, like those things matter a lot. And so I was big for Lathan. The 2 big guys I thought 40s were really good for. G. Scott running a 4.6 flat.
Yeah.
Big. Really, and then Cody Simon. Everybody had these questions about him. Why didn't he play sooner? Is he a good enough athlete? All of these things. And he ran a 4.59. And so like to be in the low 4.6s, high 4.5s for Cody, really nice as well.
Yeah. Keep going. Go to the next one. JT.
Well, then JT, Tui Moloau, he verticaled a 35.5 at like 270 pounds or whatever. It was like so explosive, getting off the ground, doing a great job with
He
it.
is so twitchy.
He is for being that big. And I told some of the other coaches, I go, him and Jack, like you look at their frames, like look at their shoulders. I go, both of those guys could probably be 280, 285 and be big, thick, strong side ends who you kick inside to like a 3-tech or a 5 and let them rush inside on guards and they would eat them up. It may take a year or two for them to do that, but by the time they're like 26, 27, they could probably really do some damage in there.
Yeah, you're not hitting the peak of like your muscle development until like your later 20s anyways. Like Jack has some super broad shoulders. Let's talk about JT there. The cool thing about JT and his athleticism, which no knock on Jack, is completely different. JT's so twitchy. Like he's that one guy. I think Jack is, to your point, Bob, exactly what you just articulated. I think there could be a fit for a JT where they're like, all right, is this guy – didn't Mayo play outside, Bob?
Mayo.
Gerard Mayo?
He was like an outside backer, yeah.
Right. So like that-esque guy, right? A guy, like, I think he did linebacker drills along with Cody for a little bit, but like D-line, outside backer, what is your fit? Is it somebody that could set the edge? Is it somebody that can rush the passer? Is it somebody that can drop? I mean, he's had a pick. We saw Jack have a pick. Like both, you're seeing two guys in 270 that have athletic ability to do a lot of different things. I think to your point, Bob, Jack is more of like, let's get bigger, move him inside type guy, whereas JT could be that tweener of an outside end, whatever kind of front you want to run, being interchangeable. He's that kind of guy because he's just a little bit, he's more athletic than Jack, right? So, but
it's interesting you say that. I would say Jack is more of I think Jack is more of a fluid athlete and ability to play and move in space. Whereas JT is he's a little more sudden and a little more explosive. And like you said, more
that's
twitchy. Like whereas Jack, like you put him in space, like he moves and has a really good feel for stuff. So there's a little bit different. But Cody Simon ran really well as well. And he was talking with some of the Saints guys. Like I think they like him because they love Buckeyes and he's smart and
Pizza Will.
I walked in there and he's talking to one of the Saints coaches and I joked. I'm like, hey, you ask him why he didn't play till his senior year? And he's like, no, I don't care about that. The film tells the story. I was like, well, Cody, why didn't you play till your senior year? And I told him, people are going to ask you that question. And he's like, I was ready. It was my time. I was like, it's a good answer. Tell people like, hey, I was ready on my time. And that's how it works. You got a lot of great players at Ohio State. And it was my time. I'm like, dude, because you were the defensive MVP of the national championship game and of the Rose Bowl. It's not like you were just some also-ran that people threw out there. You were one of the leaders of that defense, making all the calls, making all the checks, getting it done. And here's the best part about this. We're gonna have to clip this back because this is it. The best part about all of these guys. Dallas took guys out to dinner. A lot of teams I talked to had met with guys, had been around them, and meeting with all the Buckeye players, all these guys. Everybody was raving like about the character of the people that they are. The film's going to speak for itself. The numbers will speak for itself. And there's a lot of guys that can run fast. There's a lot of guys that can play football. But when you start getting down to like, are these guys that you want in your locker room? And to a man, everybody said, man, we love these guys. We love them together. And when they got like 3 or 4 or 5 of them together, some of these guys, the coaches were like, these guys like care about each other. They legit like each other. They weren't on their phones. They weren't just hanging out. Like they were engaging with each other, cutting up. And he's like, you can see how special a group this was. And that's when new coaches, you want to try to, like nip some of that culture and then plant it in your locker room. And like, that's the one thing that these Buckeyes can ultimately provide. And I'll brag, like we've had Lathan, Jag, bunch of these players have been on, Cody, like all these dudes have been on with us, and they're great. Will came on, the off season last year, a bunch of them. Seth, all of them. There's too many accounts. Seth's dad was like, thanks for having me on. He goes, I loved it. We'll have him on again. But like Emeka, like this is how great. Emeka, who's been here all these years, played all this football. One of my friends, his son collects cards. I go, hey, he sent them to me. He goes, can you get Emeka to sign these? Caught him Tuesday after practice without batting an eye, man. I felt bad. Like, it's like, I thought it was just going to be one. It's like 4 cards. Next, like, yeah, absolutely, dude. Signs them all. Like, God bless. I'm like, I love you, man. I love all you guys. They're absolutely tremendous people. Some of my favorites. And so that's going to end this edition of Headlines right here. We got our Tailgate Talk brought to you by Real Truck coming up next. All right. Welcome into our Tailgate Talk brought to you by our friends over at Real Truck, where we answer your questions. A lot of great questions in the chat today. Coming from the Lunatic Fringe, how many Buckeyes get drafted? I say 14. You say 16, Schlegs. Is 16 your final answer?
Yeah, I'm shooting for the moon. I say 16 because I want Fryer to get drafted. I want them all to get drafted. That's just me. I don't give a shit. Here's the deal. This I just wrote in the chat. Andrew Norwell, undrafted free agent, played 10 years in the NFL. Guess what? At one point was the highest paid guard in all of the NFL. Nobody really cares. It's not like, well, that class was better or that team was better or whatever because of how many draft picks or any type of record. I don't care about that. What I care about, more importantly, is the fit and the coach that wants that player. John Simon and I were talking about the other day. He went to Baltimore behind a bunch of loaded dudes as an outside backer. They're like, man, why did we draft you? And then he goes and he plays it, another 8 years in the NFL. Like, man, it's about fit and opportunity, and that's all I care about for the guys.
It is. It's big time ball with that. So yeah, I think it'll be 15 at least. I think 16 is ambitious because you need Seth, who's coming off a torn Achilles. Obviously, Fryer to get drafted as well. And I think all that stuff will happen just because people around him, they love the guys so much. You get to the 6th, 7th round and you're sitting there thinking, if I've got a flyer to take it on anyone, I want to take it on a guy who's a winner, who's going to improve my culture. And so those guys, and they're not going to be problems. They're going to show up on time. They're pros, and all these guys act like pros because the way Ryan Day runs this program, him and Mickey Marotti do a great job. All right, that's it for this edition of Tailgate Talk. Coming up next, Schlegs, we got our parting thoughts as you wrap up the show. All right, Schlegs, you got about 1 minute to wrap up the show because I got to go donate blood.
Okay, so you know what's funny? Or put this one up there. Tyleek, it was awesome. I was just watching this the other day. It's the very first one. Tyleek moving, and he's like, "Hey, I'm okay. Little cramp at the end, nothing serious. If I ran through and didn't fall, 4.849 at 329. Love it. Let's go. Charge it to win it." And you know what? He was moving.
So, Schlegs, you'll appreciate this. I'll give you one chance to retort this.
No.
Let me find where it was. He ran a 1.74 and a 2.75.
Did he really?
20, yeah. So
Bro, that's exactly right. First off, hey, side nugget, why do we make offensive defensive linemen run 40s?
Yeah. Especially
your game is 0 to 20. If you're running 40 yards, like what the hell are we doing? Yeah. Sorry. Hey, it needs to change a little bit. Like, what are we trying to accomplish? I don't know. That's my nugget.
Charge it to winning. All right. Big show today. Should have a big show tomorrow. Working on getting one of the players to come on and talk a little bit about it. We'll have Lathan on Monday as always. That's it for this edition of the Bobby Carpenter Show. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and leave your comments. We love them. Go Bucks.